Did you know that Voldemort was born in 1926? Did you also know J.K. Rowling's latest addition to the Wizarding World, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, also took place in 1926? Strange coincidence, that, isn't it? Imagine if you're watching me for the first time and you're thinking, oh, is this one of those people that does up-close camera shots for comedic effect? Because, yeah, I am. Hello there! How you doing? J.K. Rowling has confirmed that there are going to be 5 Fantastic Beasts films spanning the years from 1926 to 1945. Which means that while we're watching Newt's 5-film franchise about Fantastic Beasts, Voldemort will be growing up and going to Hogwarts. And the question that I've been pondering over for months is, will Voldemort be in the Fantastic Beasts film? Like, he was a dangerous wizard even in these early times in his life. He opened the Chamber of Secrets, he murdered his own father, and created a Horcrux all in the year 1943. That was just 1 year. Can you imagine what he did in the other ones? I don't even want to think about it. However, no matter how important these events involving Voldemort may seem, we've got to remember that first and foremost, these films are about Newt and Fantastic Beasts. And that's where I've been stuck for the last few months. I've known that Voldemort was going to be alive during the Fantastic Beasts saga? Franchise? Saga. I like it. Saga. The Fantastic Beasts saga. But I just haven't been able to find any connections between Voldemort and Newt. The main thing we really know about Voldemort from his school days was that he got Hagrid expelled for killing Moaning Myrtle. Hagrid's my friend, said Harry, his voice now shaking. And you framed him, didn't you? I thought you made a mistake, but Riddle laughed his high laugh again. It was my word against Hagrid's, Harry. Well, you can imagine how it looked to old Armando Dippet. And at the same time, we know that Newt is a magazoologist, which is someone who studies magical creatures. Wait. Technically, Hagrid didn't get blamed for killing Moaning Myrtle. He got blamed for owning Aragog and letting Aragog loose. I don't think you meant it to kill anyone, but monsters don't make good pets. So if Aragog is blamed for the death of Moaning Myrtle, and technically an acromantula is a magical creature, or a Fantastic Beast. Yes, I just did that. Guys, I've just found the link putting Voldemort in Fantastic Beasts. Voldemort's biggest event in his school life was to do with a Fantastic Beast. Or 2 Fantastic Beasts, depending on how you want to look at it. Like the one that actually did the murder that no one knew existed until 50 years later, and then the one that was accused of the murder. Also, I want to point out that despite how dangerous Hogwarts is, that it's just seen as a joke. Before the Battle of Hogwarts, which is an exception, I feel, not one student dies on the Hogwarts grounds, other than Moaning Myrtle, of course, which means that her death is a big deal. As in, the school nearly shut down, big deal. As a matter of fact, the Ministry of Magic is even now talking about closing the school. Like, this death was of such importance that the Ministry of Magic was getting involved. This was a huge deal. And the fact that the only murder of a student on the Hogwarts grounds that we know of occurred during the time period where Fantastic Beasts is taking place and was performed by a Fantastic Beast. It's gonna happen. It's like written in the stars for this to be included in the series. And also, considering the suspicious circumstances of this murder, being that a girl literally died from looking into a monster's eyes. So I unlocked the door to tell him to go and use his own toilet. And then Myrtle swirled importantly, her face shining. I died. How? Said Harry. No idea, said Myrtle in a hushed tone. I remember just seeing a great big pair of yellow eyes. My whole body sort of seized up, and then I was floating away. You'd think with Newt being one of the most famous magazoologists in the world, he'd be called upon to investigate this murder, right? Well, no. I think all the evidence points to the fact that Newt didn't help out with this case. To return to this quote from Riddle, it was my word against Hagrid's, Harry. Well, you can imagine how it looked to old Armando Dippet. Which implies that it was down to former headmaster Armando Dippet to find out who was the guilty party. And even if he did decide to bring in a magazoologist to examine the case, which I actually think he did, but I'll get back to that, I don't think it would make any sense for him to bring in Newt. Newt, who was
thrown out of Hogwarts for endangering human life.
That was an accident.
With a beast.
Is like the worst person to turn to in a case about someone who has killed someone with a magical beast, allegedly, and they're trying to decide whether they should be expelled or not. That's like turning to Hagrid for an elocution lesson. I'm almost certain that Myrtle's death will be mentioned in, like, Fantastic Beasts 4, maybe? I think that's around the right time. Because Dumbledore, who will be teaching at Hogwarts at the time of the murder, has been confirmed to have an important role in the series, with it ending with his famous duel with Grindelwald in 1945. And at this moment in time, 1943, again, I'm predicting this to be around Fantastic Beasts 4, his character will be a little preoccupied with all this, because, like, they're literally threatening to shut Hogwarts down, and that's where he works. And then there's also the fact that it's all to do with a Fantastic Beast, so I just don't see why it wouldn't be included in the film. Okay, so there it is. The scene is set. But I still haven't got to how Tom Riddle will make an appearance, because despite the fact he's the one who accused Aragog of killing Myrtle, this could very much happen behind the scenes and not really feature in the film. And this is where my theory gets a lot more speculative. I think the scenario I've created for Tom Riddle to appear in this film, there is concrete evidence to back it up. From here, it's just a lot more my thoughts on what I think will happen, and this is all up for debate, so I'm sure a lot of you are going to disagree with me, so let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below of what you think might happen. I personally believe that a magazoologist will be invited to the school to examine the case and to interrogate Tom Riddle about why he thinks Aragog did it and stuff like that. Because an acromantula, despite how dangerous it is, can't just kill someone by looking into their eyes. Like, surely something doesn't add up to the ministry officials working on this case. And I think this can all be backed up by the fact that there are multiple people on the stairs when Myrtle's body is being brought down. And I don't think they're all teachers. I think there are ministry officials there, and more importantly, a magazoologist. And all I've said about this mystery magazoologist so far is that it presumably isn't new. And I have a theory about who this magazoologist who might interrogate Tom Riddle in Fantastic Beasts 4 might be. Oh my god, this is like a theory inside a theory. There is no way this could all be right. I believe that the magazoologist chosen to examine the case will be none other than Benedita Dourado. Okay, I don't think I pronounced that right. Benedita Dourado. That's how I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I understand that it's probably the severe minority of you who actually know who that is. But don't you worry, because I believe that we will meet her in one of the other future Fantastic Beasts films before she's introduced to examine this case, since she was the former headmistress of the Brazilian wizarding school Castelo Brujo. I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I think that was some pretty good Portuguese pronunciation from someone who's never spoken the language before. Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate that the name of the South American wizarding school directly translates to Wizard Castle. Like, J.K. Rowling really went creative for that one, didn't she? Then again, I guess it's better than Hogwarts. Now, according to Pottermore, Benedita Dourado is the former headmistress of Castelo Brujo. But Pottermore does also specifically say that she was headmistress at the same time as Armando Dippet, who I've already mentioned in this video, but I don't think I've quite clarified this yet. Armando Dippet was Hogwarts headmaster before Albus Dumbledore and during Moaning Myrtle's death, and of course, Fantastic Beasts. I have high hopes that Newt is going to visit this school in one of the Fantastic Beasts films. Like, the biggest disappointment for me about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was that Newt never visited Voldemort. Like, we've still only seen one wizarding school, and some call me an optimist, but I do believe we are going to get to see another one in the Fantastic Beasts saga. And what school better than Castelo Brujo, which, according to Pottermore, the students are advanced in herbology and magazoology. Yes, a school that specializes in magazoology, and Newt is a magazoologist. Like, it just seems perfect. Yes, we're gonna see this school, which means that we should meet the headmistress, Benedita Dourado. So let's move on to the evidence that Benedita Dourado will be chosen to examine this case of Hagrid and Aragog killing Moaning Myrtle. Firstly, as I've already said, the school specialises in herbology and magazoology. So it's basically a school specialising in magical beasts, and she's the headmistress of this school, so you'd assume she's pretty good at magazoology. Pottermore also seems to imply that she had a healthy relationship with the Hogwarts headmaster at the time, Armando Dippet, as the school offers very popular exchange programmes for the European students. And seemingly they get along, because it also says that former Castelo Brujo headmistress Benedita Dourado was once heard to laugh heartedly on an exchange visit to Hogwarts when headmaster Armando Dippet complained of Peeves the Poltergeist, which shows that she's not only close to headmaster Armando Dippet, but has also visited Hogwarts before. And I think if her expertise was required to investigate a case about a child being murdered, I think she'd come back. Also, I find it interesting that Pottermore chose to reference this specific headmistress, because Pottermore could have referenced any of the headmasters or headmistresses in the history of the school, but it chose to reference the one who was around at the time of the Fantastic Beasts movies. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty confident we're going to meet this Benedita Dourado in at least one of the films. And I know there's almost no evidence for it, but I think we are going to find her interrogating Tom Riddle about Slytherin's monster and how he knows Aragog did. And Tom Riddle, being his charming charming young self will probably be able to sweet talk his way out of it like he always does. Even I was surprised how well the plan worked. I thought someone must realise Hagrid couldn't possibly be the heir of Slytherin, and somehow convince Benedita Dourado and Amando Dippet that Hagrid committed the crime, in what I think will be an important part of the 4th installment of the franchise. Or maybe this is a little far-fetched for you. I completely understand, that is complete speculation. And I've actually got a second solution, because it might make more sense to believe that no magazoologist was invited to examine the case at all. This would explain how Ministry of Magic officials seem to believe that Aragog could kill a girl with his eye. I'm sure any expert in magical creatures would know this isn't possible, so it might make sense to believe that no expert in magical creatures was invited. Like, maybe Newt was annoyed about the fact that he wasn't invited to be a part of the case and knows that Hagrid's innocent, so helps Hagrid hide Aragog, and the title of the film could be Fantastic Beasts and How to Save Them. Oh my god, I've taken this way too far. But the point still stands that there is a good chance that Voldemort might feature in Fantastic Beasts 4-ish. I don't know if it'll be 3, it might be 3, it might be 4, it might be 5. Also, this would mean that they need to cast an actor to play young Tom Riddle in the Fantastic Beasts series. And I get comments all the time saying I look like young Tom Riddle from the Half-Blood Prince, and personally I don't see it, but you know, Warner Brothers, if you see it. My Twitter is @GormanSeamus, my Instagram is @SeamusGorman4, my Snapchat is @SeamusGorman4. I will even give you my mobile number if you want it. It's 07. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it and want to see another video like this one, you can click here. Also, make sure to leave a like, I forgot to say that. You can subscribe to my channel and be alerted for other Harry Potter videos by clicking here. And yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.